Yeah, so happy to work on anything that you'd like. I'm curious, the other Kenpo school that you said
Mhm.
you're attending, um,
Yeah,
yeah, how closely aligned is that with Parker, or is it noticeably
yeah,
different?
yeah. So, all right. So he first he was in the Parker system. So he's been training Kempo as long as I've been living.
Hmm.
So I'm, 45, and he started training in Kenpo the same year I was born. So he was a black belt in the Parker system first, and then he got with Chuck Sullivan with the IKCA, the Karate Connection thing with him and Vic LaRue, and he was an eighth degree under them, and he had a pretty big brick and mortar school here in Louisiana. And then right before he retired from law enforcement, he kind of shut it all down, and then he reopened a few years ago. And it's his own system that he's kind of like what you've done in the sense of crafted your own
Hmm.
system, but it's all Kenpo, right? So every technique, it may have the same name, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So that gets a little so even when you sent me the email as far as us going over thrusting salute and what was the
Detour.
other one? Yep. And so I was like, oh, all right, let me go back and look. And so there's just like subtle differences. For example, like with thrusting salute, the way that um the downward block and the push drag off to 430 or whatever is the same, right? So,
Hmm.
but when you're here and you shoot forward with the kick and then come with the palm heel,
Yeah.
his version is you shoot back with the downward block, but you chamber here and immediately thrust into a punch into the rib cage, and then you come with the kick and here, and come with the palm heel. And from there,
Interesting.
you might go into another extension, but it's
Yeah.
subtle differences throughout the whole system. So it gets a little on me. I'm saying I get cognitively taxed, as well as like I default a lot of times into kickboxing techniques. So anyway, I put too much on myself sometimes, but it's it's really great. It's a great system. He's a great guy. He's just from the beginning. So when I told him that I had learned when I first met him through email, I told him I learned through your system. It was online, and I think he didn't know what to expect. A lot of people get a degree online.
Yeah.
So my first day I went and trained with him, he was like, "Okay, you're a lot more proficient than I expected." So kudos to you.
Oh,
But
thanks. Well,
so yeah, but how you been?
everything is great here with me. I know that uh, since you tested for second black with me, I've pared down the system quite a bit to try to make it
Hmm.
even more practical in
Yeah,
terms of you've alluded to this idea of cognitive load, right? Like how much are
yeah,
we keeping up here and
yeah.
trying to keep straight? So it was an effort just to pare it down and ease that cognitive burden. So I definitely don't want to interrupt what you're doing with your in-person instructor,
Mm.
but yeah, happy to work on anything you want today.
Yeah, man.
Are you ranking in this other system of Kempo? Maybe I
So
can.
yeah, so I'm actually so I started um at his system all the way from the beginning, and we're going through everything in black now. We're at that point. Um we got let me think for a second. So there is hmm, okay, so if we look at say thrusting lance, okay? And in this case, if the guy's coming from a right neutral bow, let's say, and he's shooting in with that knife. Okay, so we move up the circle as he's coming in with like a downward block, or really more of a forearm smash, hitting that bone there. I always forget what it's called. Right there, right?
Yeah, well, we go after the radial nerve.
That's it, the radial nerve. Thank you. So if we step over just a little and smash there as we move up the circle, and then immediately come with that palm heel, right? And then come with that forearm here, and then the hammer fist, chop, palm heel, hammer to the rib cage, and then a downward back knuckle to his face, raking back knuckle right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really like the hand movement of the beginning of that technique. When I'm coming around here, boom, 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 boom. And then from there, if I hit him right there, after I swing down, throw a back knuckle here to his, a hammer fist to the groin. After that rake, boom, bend him over and catch that elbow, smash his face with that knee, and then back kick on the way out. To me, that just flows really smooth. And I'm excited. It's one of the newer techniques I've been working on. So, it's fresh on my tongue.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to focus on, something that's immediate and relevant for you. That's really good. Yeah, it's bringing. So you talked about names and different performances, right? Parker's got a move called thrusting lance. That it's different. That one's called thrusting lance, and I kept the same name for the same scenario, but did my own rendition on it, which you may recall. So it's fun to see the different interpretations, but it's pretty much the same idea, right? You sort of get this chair out of the way. You're pulling your hips out of the way one way or the other. You don't want to get stabbed, and I think Parker had a chop grab to the wrist with a heel palm to the groin. I'm doing a double block this way, but yours, that move reminds me a lot of Clipping the Storm from Parker. The way you're getting off the line, and it's this sequence of hands alternating, which had a really nice flow to it. So that's great. Let me see it one more time on your end.
Okay. And let me ask you: is the camera getting blurry when I start to move, or is it?
No, it's crisp and clean. Yeah, we're not missing anything.
All right.
Nice.
Here. Here, then smash there. Sorry, I got that elbow. So I'm here, boom.
Yeah. So let me I can see everything, but let me just see if I can keep track of it. You got the block. That first strike, is it kind of popping them up or standing them up for a chop to the throat?
Yeah, so I'm coming down with that hammer block and then a palm heel here. And then I'm shooting that forearm strike here.
It's a forearm. Yeah.
Then I'm circling over with that hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going into that chop. Sorry, hold on. Here, chop, palm heel, hammer to the rib cage, rake there, groin strike, elbow, and then smash and go out that way. I might be changing up that ending every time I do it, but
no, it happens. Yeah, it reminds me a lot. Like, it's the best piece of every extension that I can think of. It's been a while since I've practiced them now, but it's got a little bit of the extension in. Well, it's part of the full move, but the ending of circling fans. I like that. Yeah. Whether you hook the head and forearm or claw the face and forearm. Yeah, it's got a lot of flows there. I'll try to do it with you here. I may not be as fast, but let's try.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just move up. There we go. Down, palm, up, circle hammer, chop, palm, hammer to the rib cage, rake, run smash, elbow, knee, and then back kick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And you said this is for First Black?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so what's the curriculum like? How many techniques per belt?
So he's, okay, so as you know, the Parker system back in the day, 32, 24, 16, depending. I think he learned it in the 32. And then when he got in the IKCA, they're a 55 technique system.
Oh, in total?
Yes. Chuck Sullivan's system is 55 techniques. And then, hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey,
Hey, Rick. This is Luke Booker, a student of mine.
hey, Luke.
He's
Good to meet you.
Hey,
he's
good to meet
tested
you.
with me up to second degree black belt.
Oh,
And
nice.
Luke, this is Rick States. He's got quite a bit of a background in a variety of
Oh.
martial arts, including Kenpo. And he and I were doing some video chats like this quite a bit last year. But Luke was just telling me about some other Kenpo experience he's been gaining recently.
Yeah.
It's is the acronym correct? IKCA?
So, well, so his name's Paul Britton. He was in the IKCA. He got an 8th, but then he went off and did his own system. It's called the 110 system. So it's 110 techniques. It's 110 self-defense techniques.
I see.
He also does the empty hand forms, the short form, long forms, as well as the freestyle sets. So it's but it's like 10 techniques per belt.
Uh-huh.
But it also, you have the other requirements, the freestyle sets, the empty hand forms, and the other forms as well. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, Rick, I wanted to give you a chance to maybe introduce yourself a little bit and what you're working on recently.
Oh, well, quite honestly, here in the last year, I haven't been doing as much as I had been doing for years and years. I had been doing some kung fu. I guess the last rank I kind of acquired was with a guy named Matt Borzon, who's has his own kind of kung fu amalgam system out of probably 4 or 5 different kung fu systems. And he kind of specializes in kind of Lusheng kung fu and now Pukalon, Jamindi kung fu. I was doing a little bit of Pukalon, but just hadn't stayed with it. My hip got really sore, my back got really tight, and so I was just saying, hey, I like what Geoff and I were doing, and so I thought, let's get back to it. It'll give me a focus and a goal. I'll probably be looking to do some Jeet Kune Do with a gentleman out in Ohio here before too long too, which I've had a long-term, I'll call it informal background, but now more formal. So we'll see. The last Kenpo I had done some with Jamie Seabrook, who's a real good guy.
Sure.
And I've really just via video, and I think he's a real good practitioner. But before that, I was working with Russ Palonzo, and I have my 3rd under the Palonzo organization.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But prior to that, just a bunch of kung fu, karate, taekwondo, aiki jiu-jitsu. So a variety of things I'm interested in, but I really like the simplicity of what Geoff's doing, and so I liked our meeting. So I thought, hey, let's get back together. So
that's great. And so that's Russ Palonzo, Joe Palonzo's son, correct?
Yeah.
That's wonderful, man.
Yeah, I got to meet Joe a little bit, but he, when I did, he was rather incapacitated from a movement standpoint. And again, just not too long ago, maybe a year ago, he passed away. So
yeah.
But as Russ is keeping the situation alive. He has a new school down in Maryland where he's doing that. Some little bit of I think jiu-jitsu. His wife's doing some other sort of aerobic stuff, and they have this nice little school that looks like he put a lot of money into it. And he had a lot of students last I know. I haven't talked to him for a bit, but he had a nice little thing going down there.
That's awesome.
Very nice. I see Matt Anderson has joined the call. Can you hear us, Matt? You're muted and your video is off if you can hear us. I've been meeting with Matt recently, and we haven't had any technical difficulties, so maybe he'll be able to participate here in a minute. But yeah, from Luke and Rick, happy to hear about anything in particular you'd like to work on. I know, Rick, you and I were making our way through the previous curriculum, the one that Luke had graduated in up to second black, but I've since reduced it a fair amount just to focus in on what I think are the most practical elements. When I've been working with Matt, he and I, hey, there he is. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
I'll stop rambling here and give you a chance to introduce yourself.
My name's Matt Anderson, and sorry, you're in my garage right at the moment. If you can see behind me, I've done a fair amount of remodeling, so forgive the mess. I caught the early part when I joined in. I caught the early part of what you, Luke and Rick, that you were talking. I am a neophyte on a lot of this, so but I do another form of Kenpo Jitsu here in Iowa. And actually, yesterday I earned my brown belt. So,
oh man,
I made it that far.
Congratulations!
One short of my black right at the moment. So, but I've got the yellow belt forms down fairly decent. I still want to work on the orange. I've got a lot to do. So you guys.
Oh, you may have frozen there, Matt.
You're way ahead of me, so if you can forgive my foibles and my old age, we're good.
No problem. I think one of the things I've aimed for here in my system is really so that any belt level you can kind of jump into. So like, yes, yellow comes before orange comes before blue and green and so on, but you could technically just dive in the middle at purple or blue or green, and it's all, it's there's no real order to it. So I know, Matt, you and I had worked through, like you said, yellow and orange, and we even started forging ahead a little bit into purple belt with Detour from Doom.
We did.
What was there anything in purple or orange that spoke to you that you wanted to call out?
Honestly, unless the other two, please, if you have something you want to work on, knock yourself out. I was just going to go start from the top and go through. I believe there's 5 forms for orange, and I wanted to just kind of hit each one of them again and work with them a little bit, because if anything, I've got the heavy bag behind me. I can use it as my dueling partner, my sparring partner, till Phil gets back.
Alrighty, yeah, let's take a look here. Locked wing, that's purple belt. Yeah, let's. Why don't we just pop up here? We'll do some orange belt techniques. The reason why I'm getting straight to the material here is that Luke's only got a few minutes left, and so I wanted to get us all breaking a sweat here before it's time to go. Now how do I get back to this? Here we go. All right, yeah. So let's look at clutching feathers, and Luke, you can let us know if the system you're working on has a slight variation on this one too. But I'll just...
Yeah. So I'm gonna get y'all to reintroduce me to the technique, because every technique, it might share the name, like I said, but there's gonna be it's different. So I want to do it the way you're teaching right now, and I'll get it back quickly as soon as I remember.
Sure.
From what I remember, that was when I'll never have this problem, but it was coming back, right?
That's right. It's a hair grab, but I like the principles of it, because it could work potentially for any kind of grab. You pin, you pull, and you strike. But yeah, we'll do it for a hair grab. So you're absolutely right. If he's grabbing with his left hand, I'll pin with my left hand, and the reason is that my forearm creates a bit of a shield against his free right hand. He's going to punch my arm instead of my face. So I'm going to pin. Right. I'm going to step and drive a punch. If I do that towards you guys, it'll look like this. And I'm thinking of a vertical punch, but lately I've really enjoyed firing my punches this way, keeping like a tennis ball space under my armpit as I fire the punch, so it kind of feels like a push-up when I fire that punch. Yeah. But the wrist is vertical, as opposed to trying really hard to keep that elbow rubbing the rib cage. I started to experience a little shoulder impingement with that path, but just lifting that arm gets a lot more pectoral involved and less shoulder pain. So we'll try it here together. We got a left pin. We're going to step with that left, and we're going to drive a punch. And we want to think about pulling with our head, pulling back towards 6 as we punch into his ribs. And you can sink 2 or 3 of those strikes, just obliterate his rib cage, because he really doesn't have much to defend with. And then from there, what I like to do, the right hand will open up and think about clawing through his face as we use an extended outward block to knock his arm off of our head. And at the same time, my left hand, I bring it down to my own solar plexus, kind of like I've got heartburn here. And I'm going to go from my solar plexus to his solar plexus with a chopping heel palm strike. Yeah.
Right.
And I like that path. Rather than going straight from my head to the target, that feels a little less powerful. I like to bring it in and then push it out, and it feels much more powerful following that path. And then from there, I like to insert a front kick. I like to open the gate here on my lead leg and fire a snap kick with the rear foot before planting down with a hammer fist. Yeah. So let's try that from the top here. We got our left pin, and really think that he's grabbing and pulling you, so you're being pulled into whatever he wants. So you've got to pin and pull back the other way, stepping back, shattering his rib cage. 2 or 3 of those. You're going to grip, pivot, and heel palm. You got that front kick, and then a Thor smash here with your hammer fist. Yes. And now, Luke, you were talking about extensions earlier. My sort of default extension on every move is to cover out and then cover back in with the back kick. So from here, we can up the circle a little bit, cover out towards 6 to get away, and then come right back in with the back kick before we finish our cover out.
And all right, you're not rechambering that right hand though. You're keeping it up high, right? You're coming here.
Yes, but with that heel palm, turn it over the other way so that your thumb is oriented towards the ground with that left hand. There it is. Yep. And now the right hand after the front kick, it's a big old Thor smash, and then cover out any which way you want. Boom. Yep. And there's the back kick. Now, I like the way you're doing your back kick there, Luke. It looks like the end of your version of thrusting salute, where you basically do step, kick, step.
Yeah.
It's definitely faster. So I like it for that purpose. The way I've been doing it recently is to do a single cover out.
The whole cover out. Gotcha.
Well, not the whole thing, but front crossover, step away, and then rear crossover, come back. And the reason is all the backup mass it gives us for that back kick. So let's try it once that way. If I change my orientation here, I'm gonna escape my opponent from here, and then assess the situation and say, okay, I'm going to go back for one more kick, and really think about driving through and sending him into next Tuesday.
Okay. So here, boom, here, kick, smash, come back here, and then drive it back, boom.
Yeah. So no, there's no right or wrong, but one is optimized for speed, the other one's optimized for power.
Sure.
That looks good. Rick, that looks awesome. I'm giving Luke a little extra attention here because he's got to go in about 4 minutes. But yeah.
You want to go into that hammer prior to the kick. I need to slow it down. All right.
Yeah.
And then from here, we're going to kick and then drop the hammer, correct?
Yeah, that's the way I've been doing it. I really like to get a front kick in just about every technique wherever I can, because I feel like that's really going to drop somebody. If somebody is a Goliath, my hand strike may just tease him, but a good old front kick should make him cry. Now, I've been keeping an eye on Rick and Matt as well. Let's make sure that when we do the pin, try to obscure your face a little bit before you really step back and punch. Because keep in mind, he's grabbing your hair with the left hand, and presumably he's going to try to obliterate you with his free hand. So you want this up as kind of like Luke was suggesting earlier in a kickboxing situation. You sort of just kind of put your hands up and take a beating on your arms, right? That's your block, and that's kind of what we're doing here with that pin. Just letting that arm take the beating for us. In my video, unfortunately, because I'm communicating to the camera, I sometimes do this, and I'm having a conversation with the camera, and because I want to communicate, but I really should have done this. Um, yeah. Now, Luke, I'm seeing you. Sometimes you're firing the heel palm strike this way,
Yeah, bad
which,
habit.
well, it's not terrible. Depending on we used to have a technique in my system called parting wings, where we would
Yeah.
block a two-handed push and come in with a heel palm that way, and it was kind of coming from the outside into his ribs, and we could justify it that way. I just know that when I've hit a bag like what Matt's working on, one of those middleweight or heavyweight bags, I can sometimes jam up my wrist with my heel palm coming in that way.
Yeah.
I notice that when I turn it over like this and I make it more of a chopping heel palm strike, this has never bugged my wrist coming in this way. Just for some reason the way the impact hits, it's no biggie. So you're free to do it any which way. I think another way to justify it is to say that, well, my fingers are already oriented this way. So if I just pull that down to my solar plexus like I've got some heartburn and then shoot it out, it's one less rotation of the elbow and everything. I also find that it's more powerful because it's kind of like a push-up. If you were to get into a push-up position and have your hands really close like this, you'd be very strong with your push-up. If you rotate your hands the other way with your fingers oriented out and you try doing push-ups this close, you're going to find that it's not as strong.
Right.
Now, I still have a technique called parting of the snakes, and also in begging hands, we have a double heel palm strike. So it's not a wrong strike or a bad strike to hit this way, but I'm just trying to find all the ways.
That feels like it's more powerful right there.
Yeah.
To have that. So when I'm stepping back though, just is my position of my right hand, is that where we want it to be?
Well, that looked a little high to me. Your elbow was fairly straight and your hand was overhead. I'm thinking more of drawing an outward circle and having it finish more like an extended outward block. Okay. So you're clawing his face and finishing more in front, almost like our on guard position, but you're just taking a circuitous path to get back to your on guard position.
More here?
Yeah, maybe lower your bicep a little bit, bring your bicep more shoulder level, and bend your elbow a little bit, and bring your forearm more. I would have it more like a 45. I feel like you're reaching out kind of long like this. Try to have, because it's really your forearm that's going to connect with his forearm. So I wouldn't say it's a full on guard position like way out here, but it's maybe more like that because you're using this to knock his arm off your head there. You really can't go wrong though. As long as you rip his face off and get his arm off your head, you have succeeded.
Remember, I got T-Rex arms too, so they're not going out very far.
All right. Well, yeah, we can obviously modify as we need to. All right. Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye on Matt and Rick as well. You guys are looking really sharp there.
Left.
Yeah, I want it to be
question.
Go for it.
Well, no, I just realized I'd done this. I had come up with my left before, but it's a right, and I think I screwed that up. So that's my own fault.
Well, you were right the first time. It's your left. If we're being technical. Now, the reason why I think the left is justified here is because we should be in a really strong forward bow with that heel palm strike. And
right.
With your hips squared and you're in that forward bow, I just think that rear foot comes up a lot more easily than trying to shift your weight back and then lift. But
sure.
It's whatever you're feeling in that moment is what really counts. Now look up.
It would seem as though the hand motion and that coiling should kind of unload that mechanic.
Yes, yeah, that's the vibe I'm going for right there. You've got that counter rotation of the body and the shoulders right. And the hips, sort of priming that kick. Now, Luke, I'm just noting the time for you, 4:47. If you've got a thing to go to, but I certainly enjoy having you here.
Yeah. Hey guys, it was really nice to meet y'all. I I got a family engagement. Jeff, thanks for meeting me earlier.
Yeah,
It's good to see you, man.
likewise.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll try to catch the next one, man. I appreciate everybody, man. And thank y'all very much, man. Y'all have a great rest of your session. I'm gonna run one more with you, Jeff.
All right, let's do it.
Before I get out of here, just tell me how this is looking. So we're shooting back here,
Yep,
right?
that's it.
All right, and then
Yeah, that looks deadly.
okay. All right, man.
Take care.
Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks.
Yep. All right. If you guys haven't already, maybe we'll run it a few times on the left.
Sure.
And whenever I'm doing these moves, and this is maybe more for whoever's going to listen to this video later. I think I've shared this sentiment with you guys already. But when I do these moves, I really like to think about each strike as being the one that ends the fight, and try to appreciate its applicability outside of the technique. This is something that it was harder for me to appreciate when I was a student going through the ranks. I memorized each technique and what it was doing for me against that scenario, but I really want whoever's listening to this video to appreciate that, a face rip, a block, a heel palm strike, it's not only for a hair grab, right? A rear leg front kick should be the one strike that ends the fight. Just like you're going to break a board, you want to shatter his rib cage, and just have it work for you no matter what the scenario. So the scenario is really just an excuse for us to get up on our feet and think about something. So let's do the left side here. And I say left because it's really more of it's got our left side facing in here. But so he's grabbing right-handed. I'm going to pin right-handed. And remember, we've got our forearm here obscuring our face. We're going to pull as we punch, maybe 2 or 3 of those into the rib cage. I want you to hold your chest like you've got some heartburn here. You're going to rip his face and heel palm. Oh, now make sure that's a rear hand doing the heel palm. Oh, hang on. Sorry, maybe it was my mistake. Do it one more time. I think I messed you up there. Yeah, so right hand's pinning. Boom. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I couldn't see your feet. My depth perception here on the screen was off. All right. Yep. So it's a left face rip, a right heel palm strike, primes that kick. And I really like to think of striking through with that hammer fist. I wouldn't let it bounce or recoil, but you really want to think about going through multiple boards. We can cover out and then come back in with a back kick. All right, let me see you do that once, Matt, on the bag. I like how you've got a target there to hit.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful.
That's it. Yep.
I'm not left-handed. That's what it says.
That looks really good. The only tip I would give is to get all the way to a forward bow with that heel palm. Just really commit the hips. But I think I really love how you gave each strike its full commitment. That was great. Let me see it one more time. Right there. Yeah.
I missed that. Should have kicked.
Well, I want to see that heel palm from your solar plexus to his, and I want to see a full forward bow when you go into it.
Because I have to. Maybe I'm screwing myself up. I'm trying to do both of these simultaneously, and I need to just rip and strike.
Well, there can be a little bit of simultaneity to it. What I like to do, I like to get my hand off of my head first and put it on my own solar plexus. And then I'm ready. And then the simultaneity is rip heel palm. And this is going to sound goofy, but to me it's kind of like Goku from Dragon Ball throwing a Kamehameha, or Vegeta doing one of his things. When they do that simultaneous kind of movement with their hands. For me, it's the same sort of thing. I've got a hand on my solar plexus, but it's going to be rip heel palm. So try it one more time, and I'm going to hit the pause button. You've got your hairpin. You're stepping back with a couple of punches into the ribs. Good. Now right here, get that hand off. Yes. And you're going to unwind rip and heel palm, same time. Yep. Yeah.
Left hand is always an issue. I need to kick and step back. It's got to be a snap kick, right?
Well, that's how I'm
It
thinking
should
about
be.
it. You could turn it in a thrusting salute. You could fire a right front thrust kick and then follow up with the heel palm or whatever you want. And funny enough, that's what Luke and I were talking about when we got started a couple minutes early. You know, snapping versus thrusting and the different reactions you might elicit from the opponent as a consequence. But yeah, here I'm thinking snapping that kick and following up with the lead hand. And it's one of the things I really like about clutching feathers, the variety that it brings to the system, because so much is like thrusting salute. So much is in the system, whether it's a gift of destruction, you've got a knee and an elbow, or whether it's thrusting prongs, you've got a knee and an elbow. Thrusting salute is a kick and a heel palm. It's all of this kind of follow through business. And clutching feathers is one of the few techniques where it's the rear foot kicks, but then it's the lead arm that finishes. Delayed sword is a lead kick, lead arm finish. So it's nice that it kind of permutes all of the different options with such few techniques. But that's really, I think, at its core.
Just something I noticed, and tell me if I'm thinking right, because when I come up, let's see, and I do that snap kick, I'm kind of wanting marriage of gravity as I come back, hit.
Absolutely. Yep, that's what we're capitalizing on. Yeah.
Woo!
Awesome.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
That's better. That feels better.
Yeah.
Just remembering that as I kick, drop. I don't want to go shifting my feet. I need to kick and come down.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Now, I really like that hanging bag you have there because it really forces you and all of us here that we're practicing together to think about landing each strike with solid, fight-ending force. The concern I want to raise, and it's not bad, we have to accept the limitations of whatever tool we're using. The hammer fist ends up feeling more like a rake, and it's not bad to rake with the opponent, but especially after that front kick and he doubles over, I want to visualize that hammer fist coming in perpendicular to his head, right? Just like a coconut, You want to shatter that thing. So if you have the opportunity with your board holder, maybe you could set it up rather than strapping it to a post. You could put a board between two cinder blocks. And this is a technique I think about when I do hammer fists on a board or chops on a board, and really have it be perpendicular to the target and obliterate it. But
See, normally when I do board breaks like that, and I notice that I'm right-handed, so I'm predominantly that way. But when I do it, I almost put the thing like I have a rod straight through here to my target, and it comes in straight and hits. If I try to rake it any other way, like you were talking about, I wind up with knuckles hit and that kind of jazz.
Yeah. Now, against a standing opponent, I don't think there's anything wrong with the rake. If he doesn't bend over, then absolutely you can do a corrugated rake through his face. And I think that's what's nice about the technique is you do your move regardless. If he's bent over, it's a coconut smash. If he's upright, it's a face rake. I'm for whoever's watching this later, I want them to think about, the different orientations and different training apparatuses they could use, whether it's a heavy bag or a board. But that's very good. There was something else I wanted to say here now, and I'm blanking. Your hand. When you go for that hammer fist, I want you to start with your palm up a little bit. If you can see my screen here, do you see how my palm is exposed out? And I want you to think about like you were saying, if you had a tool, like if I grab this hammer. Well, that's maybe a bad example. If I grab this stick, you do want to think like you've got something here, and that's your focal point for hitting the target. but I still, without the weapon, I want to see this rotation. I feel like it just adds so much more, rather than just having it already in that orientation. There's something about corkscrewing your hand into it that just adds a little extra, as Rick would say, adds some juice. I like that term.
Add some what? Some juice?
Add some juice, yeah.
Yeah,
Or put some,
that,
put
that
some
spiraling action, it's just, you got a number of spirals. You got your stand setting down, you got your waist, you got your shoulder, you have then you have a forearm, and it all just, there, so it all just spirals, and that's just like it is in any sort of, any sort of thing with that corkscrewing in whichever direction. It's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, very good. So that was a move from Orange Belt at Matt's request. Rick, is there anything in particular you wanted to work on? I know we had gotten our way up to Brown and Black, and in an earlier rendition of my system, we worked on some knife and gun moves and two-man defenses. Was there anything from there you wanted to call out, or I could just pick one at random?
Since it's been a little while, any technique review is a good technique review.
Okay.
So, yeah, totally.
Let me just pick a fun two-man technique. I know, Matt, this is not immediately relevant for your belt progression, but it's stuff you got to learn anyways, and it's super fun, so might as well do it. It's a technique I really like called grasping eagles, but it's kind of like Luke was saying earlier. I kept the name, but I've modified it to a point where somebody who's done Parker might not even recognize what I'm doing here. So, but it is the same sort of scenario. Let's see here if I can get back to the Google meeting. All right, so grasping eagles is a two-man scenario. And so I'm going to make this my 12 o'clock. I've got one guy in front, and he's got a hand on me. Could be his left hand grabbing my lapel. Could be a right hand. But maybe it would be both, right? But he's approaching me somehow, hands on me. Hopefully hasn't struck me yet. There's a second opponent, and he's got me more in like a side bear hug or in a shoulder tap and a bicep hug. So if I do this facing you, the good guy is in front of me, and I'm coming around sort of in his obscure zone, and I'm grabbing a shoulder and hugging his arm. Or you could think of it as like a side bear hug where I'm hugging his left arm to my chest, but I've ended up under his armpit, under his right arm. So he's got a right arm free, and I'm hugging him this way. And we've got other techniques where it's two-man and I'm in a full bear hug, but this one is more an obscure zone attack here, and the guy in front has got hands on my lapel. So what we're going to do is delayed sword with a extra back knuckle to the groin. So you can put your right hand up to your eyebrow. Your left hand, it can come up as high as it can, given the fact that you're in some kind of pin here, and you're going to step back just like delayed sword, but you've got this extra back knuckle to the groin.
Oh.
So it's like a two-man extension here of delayed sword. So one more time, right hand goes to the eyebrow, left hand comes up maybe to your belly button level as high as you can get it, considering that he's got your arm sort of hugged and pinned, and you're going to sink down with two smashes. The forearm goes, your inward block is like a forearm strike to his wrist or radial nerve, and the left, and I do like this as a pokey back knuckle. I'm going to bend my wrist a whole bunch, really expose the two big knuckles, and send that to the groin. And then immediately from there, it's a right front kick to the groin of opponent number one. So that's just like delayed sword. And after that front kick, I'll plant down with a pin, pinning either arm, whichever one is closest and available, and then I'll pivot for a vertical punch. So really, it's like Detour from Doom. It starts off like delayed sword and finishes like Detour from Doom. Yep. So one more time here. We've got a big preparation. And I want you to don't step far, because remember, you've got an opponent beside you, behind you, hugging you, so you really can't step far at all. I want you to think where you are and smash both opponents. One to the nose, one to the groin. You got a front kick to this guy. You're immediately going to plant down with a pin. And then it's a left thrusting punch. So don't snap it. I want you to think about breaking 6 boards with one punch. Yep. All right. So I'm going to get a little closer here so I can see you guys in action. So you're being grabbed, one in the front, one in the back. You're gonna take your step as you smash with your inward block and your back knuckle strike. You follow up with that right front kick without hesitation to the guy at 12. As he keels over from your front kick, lead leg front kick. As he keels over, your lead hand, your right hand is going to pin, create your opening for a thrusting punch. Yep. To the could be the ribs, could be the solar plexus, could be his face. You could turn it into a heel palm to the chin or the nose or the jaw if you wanted to. But I'm thinking about each strike being the one that ends the fight, and whatever power I generate, I want it to focus through and really hit its target. So that looks great. I was able to see you guys in action. So let's just before we continue on with the move, because there's a bit more to it. Let's just lather, rinse, repeat that, because if we land those 3 strikes, we should be able to just walk away. Yep. And when we do that pin, you're thinking about pinning at his elbow, either arm, whichever one is closest, but you're pushing that hand to his body, you're creating that pinning check, and then just driving that punch into whatever target is available. Yep. It's a bone-shattering strike, so it almost doesn't matter where it lands. So I'll do it here with you at speed. Yeah, that's it. So I like this move because if you ever watch the movie called Nobody with the guy who played Better Call Saul, I love that movie. And he made a sequel, and there's an elevator scene in the movie called Nobody 2, Part 2. And this is exactly the kind of move that would work in that elevator scene, where you kind of look over your shoulder and you realize, there's a couple of dudes there who are about ready to do something. One guy, grabs you from the side, the other guy's got hands on you, and you're just as tight as you can, smash, kick, pin, punch. Everyone's getting a thrusting strike, 1 strike for everybody to end the fight. Now let's continue on with our move. After that big old thrust punch to the solar plexus, I want you to look over your left shoulder and face the guy behind you. You could be in a side horse stance and drive an outward elbow to his face, just like you're starting a lawnmower. You're going to knock him off his feet. Yep. So if we go back a step, you've got pin and punch, a thrusting punch. 100% kinetic energy into that one. You're going to look over your shoulder. You can push drag a little bit if you need to, but definitely pivot into that outward elbow. Yep. Really settle on that. Now, turning our attention back to 12, I want us to rear crossover with the left, and it's going to be a back kick, front kick combination. So
pivot with the...
It was a right back kick to 12, and then a right front kick to 6. Back kick, front kick, yep, and then cover out. Yeah, Rick, that looks great.
Oh, whoops.
Yep, that's it.
So the kicks with the same leg and then a front cover out to 3.
Yes, that's correct. Yep, so back kick to 12, front kick to 6, cover out to 3, all with the same leg. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Yep. And now you could, Rick, I remember doing some kung fu forms with you, and this has got kind of that vibe. You could certainly jazz it up and but I think as sort of a template or a scaffolding for what would come later in those kung fu forms in your system, I think that's pretty good. So let me see, Matt. Let me see you do this technique.
But you want the whole thing or just the last bit of it there?
Oh, let's see it from the top. So you're stepping back.
Sure.
You got your inward block and your back knuckle. Yep, you got a big old front kick. Pin, create your opening.
Oh,
Sink your
yeah,
punch.
that's right. This is here.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Ah,
Yep. Now, ideally, that would be the cover out. That was it there. Very good. Obviously, as long as you escape, that's all that really matters. But if you're going to do it by the book, it's back kick to 12, front kick to 6, and then that right front crossover to 3. Let's do it all one more time here together, thinking about maximizing power. So you're in that elevator, you're in the movie scene, nobody to. One dude's grabbing you, second guy's grabbing you. Who knows what's coming next? You're going to start smashing everything in spine, groin, and forward. Kick to the groin. Plant down the marriage of gravity to create that opening for a punch. Elbow, back kick, front kick. Yeah, so thinking about those
I think I screwed it up because from here it's a front kick, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I went right to the check. And the vertical punch is like, wait, there's a kick in there.
Yeah, well, let's do just that much because, like I said earlier, maybe it was to Luke, I want this to be like brushing your teeth. I want you to have just a handful of basics that get practiced so routinely the way you brush your teeth twice a day that you could find yourself sleepwalking and brushing your teeth because it's that familiar, right? So I want these basics to be so familiar that even if you get scared and you forget your name and whatever the Kenpo technique is called, you know how to do that front kick and it's coming out. So let's do just the first 2 smashes, right? I guess it's 3. 2 of them are simultaneous here. So you're going to step with your block and your back knuckle, and then you've got that front kick. Boom. And that right there is really should be enough to end the fight. Everything else is just icing on the cake or insurance policy. Let's do just that much again. So you're going to smash and smash. Both guys get a groin strike, and they should hit the ground. Yep. And now from there, if you need to, you could pin and punch. Elbow. And your kick. Awesome. All right, let's try a couple times on the left side. So now the obvious thing that makes you pick a side on this technique is which of your arms is tied up by the opponent in your obscure zone. If your left arm is tied up, it doesn't really matter what the guy in front is doing. Your left arm is tied up, so that's the one that's going to the groin. Here, though, we're going to do the opposite side. So we're thinking that he's come up behind me, he's grabbed my shoulder, my bicep. For whatever reason, I can't throw a punch with that right hand, so that's the one that's going to be the back knuckle. So we've got a left hand to the eyebrow. We're going to step and smash. An inward block and a back knuckle. Lead leg front kick to the groin. Boom. Let's do just that much 2 or 3 times because that's really what matters here. Yep. So we're going to smash and smash. Yep. One more time. He's grabbing us. We instinctively sink our weight so that we're not easy to throw or pull. We're going to step and hammer and front kick. Boom. Now from here, after that front kick, left hand can do the pinning. Yes, we got a big old right punch. We can look over our right shoulder for a big old right elbow like we're starting a lawnmower. And now it's a left kick to 12, a left kick to 6. And a cover up. That's it. Rick, you're looking sharp as always. Matt, I love that work on the bag. Let's see it again. Yes.
Oh,
Ooh,
sorry. Wrong check.
No, that was correct.
Wrong check.
No, you had it right.
Oh,
Yep. Over the shoulder elbow. There it is. Boom. Boom. Yep.
and I'm a little short on space right at the moment.
Yeah.
My own fault.
Now I designed this technique with the idea that people would be close. Some of the two-man defenses I really envision sort of pushing them away, and you've got all this room to step and move and turn. Here I do want to think about us being kind of tight. But
Sure.
if it's that tight, maybe you won't be able to do the combo kick, right? Maybe you just pick one, or maybe you have to put your foot down in between, or switch feet,
Knee strike.
or a knee strike, or a shin strike, whatever it needs to be. So it's really the mechanics of it all. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm feeling that after the kick to the groin, the first opponent maybe is staggered back and slumped with his back against the wall of the elevator, and that gives you just enough extra room, right? Your bag unfortunately doesn't move away. You can punish that bag and it will not stagger, but your bad guy will stagger and maybe he slumps against the wall of the elevator. Hang on. Sorry there. My daughter was coming out to play and I had to save her from the steps. Yep, that's it. Looking good there, Rick. Very nice. Yeah, you both have got it down really sharp. That looks great. That's exactly how I want it to look. So it's a nice scaffolding. You could be less if you don't need as much. You could add more if you needed to, but as a scaffolding or a skeleton, it has what we need. So that was a fun two-man move from Brown Belt. Were you going to say something?
No.
No? All right. Let's see here. How are we doing on time? 5:15. Maybe we've got time for a couple more moves. One of these days when we get together, I think it would be fun to work on board breaking. I need to figure out how to set up this camera and my board holder. I think it'd be fun to work through some board breaks. Matt, I know that you demoed some.
I actually have 2 cinder blocks and about 4 boards. I just realized it.
Awesome.
Ta-da. What did you wish?
Well, with this setup, it's great for the inward chop or the hammer fist like we were doing in clutching feathers. Yeah, that looks great. Let's give it a go. I can set up mine as well. Yeah, start right hand up by you're doing right hand your left ear. I was thinking right hand by the right ear,
Okay.
clutching feathers. And,
delayed. Oh, sure. Hammer fist.
Yeah. Nice.
Whoops.
Unfortunately, the audio didn't capture the right sound there. But is that a real board or is that a rebreakable?
No, this is a real one.
Real board. Awesome. I've got a couple of cinder blocks. Let me get them set up here, and I'll punish my hand here along with you. Well, I can't seem to find my rebreakable boards anywhere. I did a little breaking the other day, and I normally attach my board holder to a tree, but I don't think I left them out in the yard, so I have no idea where my boards are. So
No
apologies.
worries. We don't have to do any of this, so we're okay. Whatever you want to do.
Well, no, I wanted to think about board breaking a little bit here with the time remaining. So we'll just watch you do it. But I wanted to show the elevation. If you have any sort of platform you could put those cinder blocks on, you don't have to do it now, but just think about, you saw my setup there for a brief moment. The stone wall. Yeah, that could work. As long as it's not too wobbly. Yeah, now we're talking. So that's like somebody bent over. Perfect. Let's see it.
You want hammer fist?
Yeah, let's go lefty. Nice. That's it. Yeah. So even if what I found is that even if the board isn't terribly challenging, but just, a moderate challenge, it's still enough to get me to focus and to say, this is the strike that matters. It's do or die. There's no, it just really focuses the mind. So that looked great. If you wanted to, with this setup, you could try a heel palm strike, although the buckets I'm worried would wobble on you. But you could try heel palm striking downward rather than forward.
Sure.
Make sure your fingertips hang over the edge of the board. You don't want to sprain your wrist. Yeah. And get a good pivot. That's it. Very good. Yep.
I have 2 more boards.
Well, I don't mean to zip through your supply.
Oh, I don't care. Nah, I don't care. I have the breakables, so.
All right. Maybe give me a lefty heel palm. That's the one I work on the most, I think, is a left-handed heel palm because I'm not lefty. That's it. Yep. Yeah, for a while there, I was even trying punches against the board. I have these gel gloves. Let me grab those.
I've got a set of those too. Like I said, the first time I did it, I didn't do it with that, and I busted this knuckle.
Yeah, I remember being in college thinking I was a superhero, and I tried punching the board and messed up my knuckle pretty bad. So then as a grown up here, I got these gel gloves, and they do a fairly good job, but you can see that these knuckles are exposed. And so even if I hit correctly and strike the target with this, as the board breaks, these knuckles can get all sorts of sliced up and busted up by the board, which isn't going to happen against an opponent, right? So it's kind of unfortunate. But if I get gloves that are full fingertip or go much higher, then making any sort of fist becomes difficult. Then I end up punching like a half fist instead of a full fist. So it's this weird trade-off. The other thing I've tried is taking a bath towel or a hand towel, one of these terry cloth hand towels, and folding it up a whole bunch of times and putting it over the board so that when I hit, it doesn't cut my hand up. But I still find that my knuckles are bruised and swollen for weeks or months, and I for a while there I was worrying that maybe I'm going to have limited range of motion. So I've kind of stepped away from striking boards with fists and just doing heel palm strikes, because I can do that and then it's like nothing. I can go cook dinner, write an email, and like it never happened. So for my board breaks, and this is for you and whoever might be listening to this later, if you're working on board breaks, don't be so macho that you mess up your hands. Do the heel palm strikes, and it's a very, if you're doing a heel palm like thrusting salute, it's a very easy conversion to make that a fist if you need to, right? But for practicing purposes, just make it a heel palm and spare your hand.
Okay.
That's why even in Kenpo practice, I know the techniques will choose weapons that make sense. Like you're not going to go, sometimes
hard weapon to hard target.
Yeah.
Especially with the knuckles, you go hard to soft target. You go somewhat softer weapon, but like maybe using the heel palm against like a harder target, just to not bang yourself up.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. If I'm going for the nose or the temple or the jaw, where I might miss, I don't want to get a knuckle to a cheekbone or a knuckle to the forehead. That's really going to hurt my hand. So yeah, I think that's an excellent point. How are you guys doing on time? I know I'm getting low on battery power, but I'm okay for a few minutes here.
Whatever you need, I'm fine. So I got plenty, so I'm good.
It looks like you're set up for one more board break. How would you like to do that last board?
I wouldn't mind doing either like the delay. I know this is going to be the more difficult one to do the inside sword hand.
Yeah. Is that your final board?
Yes.
All right, let's do it
so
lefty.
It feels like it's a good one.
Yes.
What's that?
Let's do lefty, delayed sword style.
Ooh,
yep,
okay.
That one, yep, up by the right ear. Perfect.
And I definitely want to hit it here, correct? If I get up here, I'm going to be paying for it.
Yeah, below this pinky knuckle and above this wrist bone. You don't want to clobber that wrist bone on a board because it could break you and hurt really bad. So whatever that meaty portion is right there. And now how thick are these boards? You made them look like cake work earlier. Are they just
they're 1 by 12, 3/4 inch.
Okay. Yeah. As easily as you got through them earlier with heel palms and hammer fists, I'm not worried here. But yeah, I think it really sharpens the mind to do your non-dominant hand on a delayed sword style chop. Now I see that you've all right.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right. You got through it. I was going to say, I saw that you oriented yourself kind of sideways to the target. And I think that was to maybe get a little more lat involvement, which was a good idea.
Yeah.
And maybe simulate the angle of the chop. So I just wanted to understand your thought process for anybody who would be watching this later. Normally, I set myself up facing the target in a left neutral, and I start by my right ear, but admittedly, I have to kind of come straight down in order to hit the target, and that does feel weird. So you kind of change your angle a little bit to keep your elbow out and engage the right muscles. So I think that was a good thought process. Yeah, let's
That's for my boards.
no more boards. All right, let's pick one more technique here for fun. Now Brown and Black, in addition to having two-man techniques, also has knife and gun defenses. And I remember getting to some of this with Rick back in the day. It might be fun to do one of those again. Let's see here. Let's do escaping the lance. It's a knife defense. And recall now that I'm really thinking of thrusting salute and detour from doom as knife defenses as well, using this meat shield idea, right? If he's determined to stab me with a knife, I don't want to necessarily reach out with my hands and expose my targets trying to grab and control the weapon. I'm just going to use this as a shield. Now, if I have a real object, like if I can pick up something like a book or a tray or a plate, right, that would be my defense as a shield. But if I'm totally empty-handed, as Kenpo and karate assume, then this becomes my shield, and he's going to stab me in the arm. But then I just, throw several front kicks to the groin, either thrusting salute style or detour from doom. But here, this technique, escaping the lance, is a little bit different scenario. And this is one where the opponent is behind us. And let me get the knife here. I got my super cool toy Rambo knife. So the opponent is coming up behind us and putting a knife to our neck. So he's kind of got us it's almost like a rear forearm choke with a knife. and his free hand is maybe reaching around and hugging our bicep to his chest. So your left arm is hugged, pinned. His right arm is coming over your right shoulder with a knife to your throat, and you're kind of being pulled back. He's sort of hugging you to his chest. Your weight is leaning back a little bit. So if I'm gonna play the role of the bad guy, maybe I've got my right foot in between your feet. I'm hugging with the left arm. This one's around your throat, and I'm leaning you back. And it's kind of a hostage situation, you know. Or maybe he's whispering in your ear. Maybe he's like, "Look, I'm gonna, take me wherever I want your money or your valuables or whatever." And you know he's just trying to walk you to another location so he can slit your throat and kill you. Or there's a line of cops in front of you, and he's got you like this, and he's using you as a human shield so that he can, safely make his way back to a vehicle or somewhere. And you know that the moment that he gets to a safe place, he's going to slit your throat and run. So there's really you don't want to go anywhere with him. So what we'll do in this situation, although your left arm is being hugged, we're going to try our best to make use of a hammer fist to the groin. The right hand's going to reach up and grab his wrist and pull down to get that blade away from your throat. And so we're going to do that all as we step. So the right hand pulls, the right foot steps out into a horse stance, and you're going to hammer fist to the groin. And it could be 2 or 3 hits to the groin, whatever it takes to really soften them up. Now, we don't want to stay here because the knife is still kind of dangerously close to our chest and our throat. But you do want to make sure that you land at least one really good shot to the groin to make the next part as easy as possible. So I'm going to lower my camera here so you can see my feet. So you're being held up. I like to put my hands up, feigning compliance. Let me get a little closer here so I can show that. So I, kind of bend at the elbows and show my palms to him. Like you say, "Hey man, look, I don't want anything," and you're trying to make it look like you're showing him your hands are empty and you're complying. But really what you're doing, you can see that because my palms are facing me, I can very easily grab the wrist, right? It's no, if my palms are out and high, now he's going to see that hand come across, and it's gonna be he'll be able to see it coming. And with my left hand turned this way, it's ready to drop for that hammer fist to the groin. So you're leaning back, you're complying, you're feigning fear and all that. And so then you're gonna, right hand becomes a grab, left hand drops as you step out into your horse stance. Yep. Now, if you can, I want you to bend over at the waist and kind of turn to face him a little bit. And the reason is it's going to feel kind of like grasp of death. Do you remember how we escaped by tucking our chin and getting out from underneath his headlock? Well, we're going to use that same idea. You're going to pull your left foot into a cat stance, and you're going to lift this arm over your head as you get free. Yes. And now from here, the left hand can palm up, grab the inside of his elbow. So the right hand is grabbing wrist. Left hand is grabbing his elbow. And with 2 hands against his one, you should be able to bend his arm a little bit. You can pull with the left hand, bending his elbow, and the right hand is going to push. And in the air, it looks like you're firing kind of an awkward horizontal punch. But really what you're trying to do is put that blade into his body. And what makes it easiest of all is not having it really far away from your body. If I'm out here trying to do a push-pull, it's going to feel very weak. But if I hug to my body and turn with my body, you can see it's almost not even a push-pull. It's really just a turning of my torso. But my left hand, I do want to think about pulling with my left as I push with my right. But it's my whole body behind that motion. And where did my knife go? So if I'm the bad guy, right? I had the knife to your throat. You hit me in the groin. You ducked out from underneath. You want to put the blade in me this way. Do you see how it's just the way my hand is oriented with, I'm not changing any orientation with my hand. You're trying to put that blade into my rib cage. And you're doing that with your wrist grab. So you just have a plain old wrist grab and you're plunging it in. Now, if he sees it coming, he of course could try to turn his wrist at the last minute, and so that he places the knife flat this way. But the hope is that you've hit him in the groin and he's puking out his lunch from that, and he's trying his best to fight with this, but he doesn't know it's coming. Maybe he's trying to put it at you, but out of nowhere you just plunge it straight into his body, and so he never had a chance to defend. So let's try that much again from the top. So we're in this knife hold up. Maybe it's a hostage situation. You're feigning compliance, got your hands up, palms facing him. You're going to grab the wrist, not the knife. You're going to step out, hammer fist, 2 or 3 of those to the groin. Now I want you to cat your foot as you duck underneath his arm, get your head out. I want you to cat around, and you're going to step into a neutral bow. Your foot is on the outside of his leg. Your knee is touching his knee. So you've got a point of contact there. You can feel him. You've got a left hand on his elbow. Right hand still has the wrist grab. You're hugging it kind of tight to your body, but you're also kind of trying to push it into him. So he's going to resist a little bit. So you want it close to your body to turn and twist, but ultimately you do want to put that knife in him. I'm about to lose you guys because I'm getting low on power. After you get the knife in his body, you're in a strong forward bow. Left hand's going to let go and turn over and pin, just like we do in all of our moves here when we want to pin an arm. It's a pinning check, and that's just to secure the arm with the knife as you make your exit. You're going to cover up. Yep. Now, I've kept it simple, but obviously you can imagine all the inserts you could do, right? After you have that pin, you could add hand strikes, you could cover out, cover in with back kicks, all the business there. But for this technique, because it's with a knife, I thought just keep it simple and do the parts that really matter. Yeah, you could even think about disarming him and using the knife against him, but let's just run the basics here. So he's got us in the hold up. We're grabbing the wrist, we're stepping, pulling, and hammer fisting. 2 or 3 of those really destroy the groin. Duck as you cat. Press and step to get around his leg, check his knee with your knee, hug his arm, keep it tight to your chest, and you're going to plunge the knife as you pivot to a forward bow. Left hand turns into a pinning check. You're going to turn your hand, thumb down, palm down, pin that arm to his body as you start to check your surroundings and cover out. You don't want that knife coming back into you while you're looking out for opponent number 2. So that.
Hey, quick question on that check. Is that coming in front of his leg or behind his leg?
The second one, you're going to go around behind. So
that's what I thought.
Your foot is by his heel, your knee, the point of your knee is on the outside of his knee, and you're just making sure that he doesn't kick you in the groin. And you're also, it's a tactile awareness of where the opponent is at while you're doing your upper body stuff.
Right. And that's what I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to make sure I understood.
Yeah. Let me see you guys do it one last time here before my battery dies.
Okay.
Yep. That's it. That's it. Very good. I want to say a formal thank you for joining. I really enjoyed catching up with you guys. And I'm going to say farewell here because my battery's about to die and I don't want to miss that opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Master Johnson.
Yep. Hopefully I'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.